Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Unchained, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I do my syncing. I did a tutorial like this about a year ago on my selfie, but it was a pretty old way, and I've changed my method a little bit since then. The old method was still good, but I've improved it a bit, and so I'm going to be showing you guys that today. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to sync a sniper clip, a trick shot, and any cinematics you want to put into your edit as well. So thanks for buying, and let's get straight into this. So I've set up my composition here. As you can see, I've named it sniping because that's the one that I'm going to be doing first, and I've dragged in my song. You can see we've got a bit of a Tribe Called Quest, and I've marked it out. Now if you don't know how to mark out a song, all you have to do is drag it into the composition and you'll have it like this, and then to view the waveforms of the song, you just want to double tap L on your keyboard and it'll bring up the waveforms. You can see all these little bumps and stuff. You can see some markers and stuff here. And if you want to do an audio preview, just press delete on or the full stop button on your numpad, and it'll give you a little audio preview up to 30 seconds, I think it goes. And then if you want to scroll through and get a bit more precise, just hold control and then scroll through and it'll play the audio as you scroll through. And then when you found the spot that you want to mark, so here, that, oh no, right there, that sounds about right. So I'm just gonna set a marker there. I want to mark that part. I'm just gonna make sure I have no layer selected so it marks the composition rather than a layer, and then I'm just gonna press the asterisk key on my numpad, and there we go, we've got a marker. Alternatively, you can bring in markers, drag them in like this, and then they're numbered, but I think that's just a bit time consuming and annoying. And if you want to delete a marker, just hold down control on your keyboard and then click on it, and you can see this little scissors thing comes up, and then you just click and it'll delete the marker. So yeah, there we go. Now let's get right into syncing and stuff. So once you've marked out your composition, you want to make sure that you've got the right composition settings. So right now I'm just going with sniping. I've got 1280 by 720 because that's what most clips are. And I've just gone 30 seconds for now. Yours might be any length. The length isn't really a big problem. You just want to make sure you're at 30 frames per second. That's the most important factor here. It doesn't even matter what resolution your composition is in. As long as you're at 30 FPS, it should be fine. And you've got 60 FPS clips. If you're using 30 FPS clips, just don't. You should be able to find good 60 FPS clips, and if you're getting sent 30 FPS clips, you need to be sending them back, because that's not the way to go, man. Alright, so first I'm going to drag in the sniper clip I've got, so this Exodus 5 man from my boy Red Thief. Just going to drag this in, and as soon as you drag it in, because my composition settings are correct, it just fits straight into the frame like that. And you can see that because my composition is quite small, oh, sorry about that, guys, my After Effects crashed for a second, but yeah, we're back. As I said, it just fits straight into the frame because I sorted out all the composition settings and everything. So when you first bring in your clip, you probably won't be able to see any of it, just because your composition will probably be longer than 30 seconds, whereas I'm just using 30 seconds because it's just for a tutorial basis. So you want to bring the beginning of your clip basically to where the time marker is, the time frame, and to do this you just want to press open square bracket on your keyboard, the one to the right of P, pretty easy, and there you go, there's the beginning of the clip. Now I'm just going to zoom in a bit. You can do that by holding Alt and scrolling your scroll wheel up, and I'll just put this in half as well so that I can sync it a bit easier without my computer having to put in a lot more render power. So I'm just going to be previewing this in half resolution for now. Okay, so as you can see, I already explained how to mark everything, and I've got my markers set up. As you can see, this really isn't the beginning of the clip. It's the beginning of where the player has cut the clip to, but it's not where he starts killing people, is it? But over here, we can see he gets his first kill. So right here, this is where you want to be cutting the clips. So here's the, you can see the gun flare going off. It's right on the shot, and you just want to press Control Shift D on that, right on the shot, and then you want to scroll through to wherever you want this to be cut to. Also, another little tip is if you press this little button, it will solo the audio from your song, so you don't have to deal with any audio for the clips, because you really don't want to be dealing with that. You want to be adding in all your audio, all your gun sounds and everything afterwards in post-production, just so that everything sounds a lot better. and everything's synced up properly. So I'm going to do a quick audio preview and see where I want this shot to be synced to. Okay, so here's the snare. That's where I wanted him to be hitting the shot. Got a bit more impact, hasn't it? So I'll just scroll that along, and then you can see he hits the shot on this beat now. Okay, so there we go. We've got the basics here, and now I'm just going to cut this by going Alt and open square brackets, and there you go. It's cut, and you can see he hits the kill on the marker. So yeah, I mean, that's alright, and we want to be doing this for every shot in the clip before we get to applying Twixtor or anything, just because this is the way I do it, and it helps to achieve the best result. So let's just go to where the next shot is, and we can see it's here. We've got the gun flare again. I'm just going to press Ctrl-Shift-D, and it's going to cut the clip. And then I'm going to go back to where my first shot was and see where I want the next shot to be. So, okay, so there. Okay, so you can hear there's another snare here. So I'm just going to take this and just going to press open square brackets, and there we go, the shot's there. And as you can see, it cuts to the shot at this point, but don't worry, we can definitely fix that later. And now, again, let's just do this again for the next shot. And then we can see the snares here. This is where I want to sync it to, so I'm just going to press square bracket again. And as you can see, there's a gap here, but don't worry, we can definitely fix that afterwards. And next shot is a little bit of a jump shot, so we're just going to cut that there. We can see there's a snare there, so I'm just going to again make him hit the shot there, and he hits it there. And again, no problem that it cuts to it or anything, we can definitely fix that afterwards. Next shot, we've got this one, and okay, again, that's another snare, so I'm just going to sync it to there. And for now, I'm only going to do that amount of shots. I'm sure there's more in the clip, but for this tutorial, I think that's the only amount that we need to use. Okay, so once you've got all your shots like clipped and I guess in line with the beats, you want to get Twixtor Pro, which you should have if you're watching this tutorial. I included it in the description of the selfie. If you don't have it, it's very easy to obtain by many ways. I would suggest buying it. Yeah, anyway. So, oh sorry, I just entered in my settings without even speaking to you. So if I just press reset, this is the default settings you get when you apply Twixtor Pro. So you can see it's taking the color source from layer number 7 in the composition. That's what we want, because that's this layer that's selected. And then the frame rate of the clip is 59.94, so we're just going to change that to 59.94. And again, you should definitely be working with 59.94 FPS clips. If you're not, you're doing it wrong. Find someone who actually records their clips properly. And then down here we've got the motion vectors. This is basically the optics compensation, or the frame blending in Twixtor, and this is just gonna help blend the frames and yeah, help out if you go lower than 50% speed. But I'm not gonna go lower than 50% speed, and the reason for that is my composition is 30 FPS, the clip is 60, so we can go all the way down to 50% speed without there being no lag and no warping, which is what this creates. So I'm just going to change that from best to no motion vectors, and then we can skip all this for now, and I'm just going to change this from blend to nearest. So now you can see it just looks like the default clip, or maybe there's a few frames skipped, but that's all. There's no warping, there's no other effects added. Alright, and that's what we want. Now we can get into speeds. So what you want to do before you change the speed on anything is keyframe it. So I'm going to press the stopwatch here, and that means it's going to set it at 100, and everything before this has played at 100 speed, so it's going to keep it starting at this frame. And now we're going to just press Control and right arrow key, and it's going to move us one frame over, and then we can change the speed here, and everything will stay at the same. It'll still start at the same frame. Whereas if I changed it, say to 200, just from the start without keyframing it, it changes everything. It goes to a random place. So we want to just make sure we've got that single keyframe here. If you want to bring up the keyframes, just press U on your keyboard and it should bring it up. And we can see we've got this single sort of placeholder keyframe, which keeps it at the right frame. So we'll just move one space across and change this value. So the values I like to use are 350, 300, and 50. So the highest 300 and the lowest 50, but you can mess with this to whatever you want. Maybe if you're using a more hard-hitting song, you want a very sharp beat, and you might want to go up to 400. If you're using quite a slow song, you might only want to go up to 200, 150. Whatever really fits your song, or whatever one really fits your style of edit that you want to do. But I must say, you can only go to there is limits on how far and how low you can go if you want to sync it up with the shot on the beat. So for now, I'm just gonna go to 300, and I'm gonna remove this marker because I think it's a bit stupid. As you can see, there's only a tiny amount of difference between these two, and it wouldn't be worth setting a keyframe there. So at least for now, so I'm just gonna delete that keyframe. As I said before, just hold Control and click. Okay, so I've got one keyframe at 100 and then one keyframe at 300. So now, from now on, it's just going to play at 300% speed, and we really don't want that. It's going way too fast. So we're going to go from 300, and then we're going to go to halfway between this marker and the next one, and set it to 50. The lowest you can go is 50 without there being any warping or any lag in the clip, and that's why we like 60 FPS clips, because we can actually make slow motion without there being any lag or warp. And now we're just going to move on to the actual next marker and set it back up to 300, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. If we select these values and press this here, which is called the graph editor, you should know what this is. It's basically a way of viewing the different speeds in graph form, and you can really mess with the... Okay, so why we go into the graph editor, it's because you can really see this in a graph form, and you can even curve them and mess with the speeds a lot more than if you're just moving around keyframes here without easing them or anything. So you can see it goes from 100 here up to 300, then down to 50, then down to 300 for the next marker. And to focus these more on the markers, we want to just click speed here so it selects all the keyframes, and then press this little hill down here, which makes it easy ease. And as you can see, everything's now curved, and if we select all the keyframes again, we get these little handles which we can mess with. So you don't want to be doing that. I was just demonstrating. So now I'm just going to zoom in and show you what you want to be aiming for when we're talking speeds and the graph editor. So what I usually go for is a U shape. It helps with a nice smooth flow. So I'm going to grab this handle on the right and bring it all the way down so that we can see we've got sort of half of a U, and I'll do the same on this side, and again we've got half of a U, and you can see the clip changing. It goes further back, and that's because I'm actually reducing the time that it's spending at 300. So now you can see we've got a little bit of a speed up, slow down, speed up, and you've got your basic U shape. This is a massive part of basically my syncing, the way I sync, and now you can just copy that, select these 3 keyframes. Remember not to select the 100 because then it'll set it back to 100. You don't want that, so you just want to copy these and just paste it across, and then you can see we've got the U, and that's good. And this, it really doesn't matter, it's one frame, it's not a big difference, but you can see that these 3 here don't line up with the shot. They're not ending with the shot, alright, and it doesn't look good. It has the beat there, but it doesn't speed up towards the shot. So we've got a little bit of glitching here as well, but that's fine. That's just the Black Ops 3. So if your keyframes don't line up, you just want to select the 3 that you want to move, hold Alt on your keyboard, drag the furthest one away, and then just drag it in until the furthest one lines up. So now you can see everything's lined up. We've got the 100, we've got, you can literally see the 2 beats. We've got 1 beat, 2 beat, and then the shot, and it speeds up again towards the shot. So we've got bang, bang, and then it speeds up again towards the shot. Now, if we watch this right now, if I just begin in my work area and preview that, yeah, it looks pretty good. But what I like to do is add more impact. Oh, I've actually messed it up. It doesn't look good at all. It doesn't line up. If you can see, it sort of glitches a little bit at the shot. We can see a shot there, and then a shot again. We don't want that. We only want the shot once. So I'm just going to press Y on my keyboard, which will change the tool to the anchor point tool up here, and we can just select the layer and just scroll back until it's before the shot, and we can scroll back to just this frame if you want, or we can scroll back even further to give it a bit more a bit more impact, and then it'll sort of hit the shot more heavily, and it almost cuts to the shot, so it looks a lot better in my opinion. There we go, that looks a lot better than before. And it's going to look even better when we apply the same effect to the next clip. So we can just do the same thing on the next clip. We just select that, put on Twixtor Pro, enter my settings, which are 59.94, no motion vectors, and nearest. And you might ask why I'm not just copy and pasting the whole Twixtor. If you copy and paste Twixtor in After Effects, I'm not sure if it does it in yours, but it definitely does this in mine. It just crashes it. So yeah, you have to enter it in every time, but it's not really a big deal when you're getting this good flow for this little effort, in my opinion. So we've still got those keyframes copied, so we're just going to keyframe the 100s as I said. Always do that, the placeholder. I'm just going to go one frame across, control right arrow key, one frame across, and then paste the keyframes. And you can see it's holding up. It's gone a bit quickly. I've just control V'd those keyframes, and I'm just going to hit U, and you can see these in here. But again, they don't line up with the next marker, so I'm going to hold Alt and just drag those out until they're almost on the next marker or one frame before it, because as you can remember, there's 2 frames per marker. So again, I'm just going to paste it and then drag this out until it sort of lines up with the marker as well as you can, and then just do it again. And now we've got the beats on this one, so it goes bang, beat, beat, and then shot. And this doesn't quite line up, so I'm just gonna extend it out a bit. And yeah, as you can see, it cuts the shot here. Now you might want to include the whole scope animation so that it looks a bit better. If you want to do this, just again select the speed. What I did there was select the speed, click graph editor, and then select all these top keyframes. Don't select all the keyframes, just the top ones. And then select the end one, and you can move it up and down, and it'll change the speed of all of the markers so that you have the same speed throughout, and you can speed them all up until it lines up with the shot. Okay, so now we're onto this clip, and as you can see, there's a gap here. So if we sync it up normally, there'll be a little black gap before the shot, and we really don't want that. As you can see, it won't look good. I mean, I haven't synced this yet, but you can see there's a black gap, and you don't want a black gap in your clip. So you want to be able to see the whole clip, and it just flow smoothly. That's what this whole video is about. So if you get something like this, don't worry, just extend it out, and now you think, oh yeah, it's fixed. It's really not, because it will shoot twice again. Now you might have already guessed this, but all you have to do is do the same technique of the keyframes, copying and pasting them, and then just keep doing that. As I said, I'm just going to keep lining them up to each marker, again holding down Alt and clicking and dragging the keyframes into place. And it doesn't matter about what's going on here. You might see that he's hit the shot already. That's not good, but again, there's no problem, because as I said before, just go into the graph editor, select the top keyframes, and just drag them all the way down until you have the right place you want. Now you can see down here we've got a little bit of this sort of disgusting ooh sort of minginess, as I might call it, but it's like, this is where it goes below 50, because these things are too dragged down, they're too eased. And sometimes little things like this, as in this situation, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I don't think there's any viewable lag. Oh no, there is actually. There you can see a frame lasts for more than 1 second, and if we ran preview that, it looks a bit laggy. Just on this shot, you can see we've got one frame that lasts for more than, we've got one frame in the clip that lasts for more than 1 frame in the composition. We really don't want that. So to fix that, again, just select the top keyframes and just drag these handles up a bit until you get rid of those sort of like underhanging bit parts. And now the lag should be fixed, and you've got your own clip. And if you don't think it's lined up properly, again, just drag down the height of the keyframes, and there you go. You got, again, and these ones are so tiny that it really won't matter for the clip. And there we go, it's fixed. Everything looks great. And now we can move on to the next bit, and I'm just going to sync the rest of this clip and show you what it looks like for the final outcome. Alright guys, so I've just been through and synced all the clips. As you can see, if I select all of them and just press U, not all the clips, sorry, all the different segments of the one clip, all the different shots, you can see I've got all the same sort of keyframes laid out, and I can just zoom in. You can see I've got all the U-shaped. If I select anything like this one, you can see it's exactly the same technique as I showed you earlier. So if we just click off that and just get those all back up, there you go. And let's just show you what this looks like. So
here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
as you can see, it looks pretty dope. We've got all the shots synced, and it bounces between the markers and between the shots. Definitely gives a little bit more impact and everything, so that's great, yeah. And now I'm just going to show you how to sync a trick shot in clips. So let's open up the next composition and get that on. And again, I'm using the same song. I'll just delete this marker because again it's a bit stupid, and I'm using exactly the same song, but this time I'm going to be syncing a trick shot in clip to show you guys how I do that. So again, I've dragged it in, it's showing up here, but I'm just going to press open square brackets so it begins at the right point, and it's almost even the same technique. Again, I'm just going to solo the audio layer so that we don't have to hear any of that game audio, and this time I'm going to audio preview 3 and see. Okay, so here this is quite a good impact, and on this, with these markers, because it's a trick shot and it'll last a lot longer between shots, you want to be looking for a marker that's quite far in rather than a marker that was a bit closer to the start. As you can see on the sniping one, we chose a snare that was only the third beat in, whereas on this one we're choosing, I don't know, just it's a lot further in, if you can see what I mean, so that we have time to show the whole trick shot rather than cutting it at the start. So I'm just going to scroll this through and then see where the shot is. So as you can see here, my boy Bry hits a fucking stinker. There we go. And I'm just going to split it with Shift Control D again. And you can, let's just see if we've got the whole, yeah, we've got the whole trick shot included here. So then I'm just going to start it where my markers start, and I'll just save that. And now we're almost ready to get to syncing. We've got all this set, so it's definitely set up. And now we want to choose where we want it to cut from him hitting the shot and reloading to the kill cam. So I'm just going to choose the next marker, to be honest. Sometimes you can cut out markers and move on to the next one if you want it to be more impact on the shot, or for it to last longer, I guess. But I'm just going to choose the next one. I'm just going to split it there. Shift Control D again, just splitting the clip, and I'm just going to drag it through until we're at the start of the trick shot in the kill cam. Oh, okay. Oh, it's because I'm in full resolution, sorry. Okay, so now this is where the trick shot starts around in the kill cam, so I'm just going to press Alt and open brackets, open square brackets, and we're at the trick shot. And now, this is quite an important part. You want to find a part, you want to find obviously where the shot is on the trick shot. So for us it's right here. There you go, you want to get right where that gun flare is, and then Shift Control D. And now I'm just going to go from where it starts and just audio preview and see. Okay, so there's quite a big impact here, so I'm just going to, and you can see I'm skipping quite a lot here. I'm skipping quite a lot of footage here, but that's quite a big part in the trick shot. You want to be skipping some footage at least, because the trick shot slows down automatically built in the game, and you want to try and avoid that so that the viewers don't get bored and everything. So let's just speed that up so that the shot is here, and yeah, there we go. So now we've got the basics. It's not synced yet, but we've got it cut and everything, and I'm just gonna end the kill cam there. And I like to add a bit more sort of difference to my syncing, so that I'm not just syncing to every beat. So I'm just going to remove these two, even though there's two beats there. I'd like to remove them just so that I can sync just to the snares at this point, so there's a bit more impact on the shot, I guess. And just switching up every now and then in the sync pattern really helps add to the complexity and just how good your edit is in general. So yeah, I've done that now. Now I'm just going to get back to before the kill cam and start syncing this. So again, it's the same keyframes, just the 300 to 50 U shape, and I'll put in the 59.94 because again, if you're not editing 60 FPS clips, what are you doing? Put in my settings, no motion vectors nearest. We got the placeholder keyframe, and then we're just going to go one frame across and paste the U shapes, and then we're just going to literally press U on the keyboard, zoom in a little bit by holding Alt and scrolling, and then holding Alt and dragging the keyframe so that they fit the marker. I'll just do that again for the next one, scroll out a bit, and I'll just do it again for the next one, and I'll just keep this going. Oh, just keep copying and pasting. We've got nice little U shapes going on, And this way of syncing is very efficient, and it also has a very good outcome. It's the best I've ever seen anyway. Well, the best I've discovered. I haven't really used any other people's syncing methods, but I think that this it's equal to others, and it's the quickest that I've seen any tutorials on or anything. I mean, there isn't any tutorials out there on this, but it's the quickest that I've seen compared to tutorials I've seen on speeds and stuff when I was just starting out. And then again, I'm just scrolling it back so that it lines up with the shot. So as you can see, we just want the last frame of this sort of YY that he's doing, and then he hits the shot. So that's good, it lines up well, and we've got the first part of the trick shot synced. So yeah, that's good, and then he hits the shot, and now we're just gonna close that and then move on to the next part of the clip. And Twixtor Pro 59.94, no motion vectors, nearest, and keyframe the speed with the placeholder, 1 frame, and then paste it. And then we can just hold Alt and drag out these keyframes so that they work well. And yeah, we've got a nice little U shape here. We can go into the graph editor and see it working well. Perfect. So now it goes boom, and then it speeds up towards the kill cam for a little bit of transition, I guess, a little bit more flow. And then again, next clip, so we have to reapply it, and yeah, it can be a bit annoying after apply it to every single different clip, but it's worth it in the end, because for this outcome I don't think you're going to get anywhere else, and yeah, it does actually save you a lot of time going in and having to graph every single keyframe, whereas we're just copying and pasting and getting the same outcome. Okay, so for the kill cams, which is what I'm doing right now, you want to just yeah, keep doing the syncing as you're doing with the U-shaped keyframes. So you want to get in the basics as usual, as I did on the syncing ones. Get in the basics first, and then you can mess with the speeds afterwards. Especially on Black Ops 3 kill cams, I've noticed. Closer to the end of the kill cam, it gets really slow. So as you can see, it's only moving a tiny bit, whereas at the start it was moving a lot when it speeds up. So to fix this, you just want to go into the speed and change the last maybe 3 sets of keyframes, and then we can just drag these up a bit. I think the maximum I go with these is 500 or 550, just because after that you start missing some of the detail in the trick shot. Oh, what's my computer doing? Fuck's sake. Okay, so now let's just change this to 550 actually, because I don't think it's going to reach it anyway. And then we can just go 550, and it's not lined up to the kill cam, but again, just press Y on your keyboard and just drag it along until it does eventually line up, and we should have some good flow in the actual kill cam clip now. You can see we've got all the kill cams and we've got all the things in place, and it doesn't seem to be speeding up too much. It's actually quite slow. You can even increase the speed on the kill cam if you want. There's not really many limits on the kill cam because it is so slow, so you can speed it up as much as you like, as you look, whatever you think looks good. Again, this is so customizable. You can change all the speeds, everything you want for the right look for your song or your edit or whatever you want, to be honest. And now I've just stretched this out a lot because I only have one marker. Again, as I said, I skipped beats here and I just synced it to the snare just to give it a little bit more complexity and a little bit more something interesting. So let's just preview that, see how that looks. We'll just scroll along and make the work area begin here. Pressing B and N to do these, by the way, and then we're just going to preview that.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo.
As you can see, it looks perfect, just like one of my videos, and this is the method I use to sync trick shots. And now, last but not least, I'm going to be syncing some cinematics, so let me just import one here. Okay, so now I've imported my cinematic, and yeah, it has nothing to do with this map or anything like that, but at this point it really doesn't matter because it's just for the tutorial, and I don't know why this is ended here. That needs to be ending. There, perfect. So yeah, it's just gonna speed up to the end there, that's good, and I'm gonna put in a cinematic here. So I just recorded this with Shadowplay from Black Ops 3. As you can see, it's only 58 frames per second, which might be a problem with the way I edit cinematics, but as you can see, if this pulls up, it's very slow. I recorded it in 0.1 or something, so you can see the actual cinematic is very slow. So when I speed this up, to normal speed, it's around 600 frames per second, which is what I like to have for my cinematics, because you can really get a lot more range in the speeds that you use, and it's a lot easier to use. So if I drag in my cinematic into here, and again, although it has nothing to do with this, I'm just going to use it for the tutorial to show you how I sync them. This could be anything from a death cinematic to a running cinematic, and the first thing you want to do is make sure it's the size of your composition. So as you can see, I recorded this in 1080p, so it's too big, or not quite 1080p because my monitor is a bit of a weird size, but yeah. So I'm going to change it from 100% to 71%. I happen to know that that's the right size for my cinematics. You can get this just by messing around and seeing what size is perfect for you. But yeah, or maybe it's 70 actually. No, 71. You can see we've still got a little bit of a black edge there. So yeah, let's just push it up to 71%. We've got good high resolution cinematic, and this is where the time remapping comes in. So Control Alt T is the shortcut for enable time remapping, or you can just go right click, time, enable time remapping, and that tick won't be there, and you can just click that, and it should bring it down. And this is a different way of speeding up your clips in After Effects with no plugins actually, and this is the easiest way that I think for cinematics. So as you can see, we have the first keyframe here. This is where the clip starts, the cinematic starts, and the ending keyframe is way off because this composition is too small. So I'm just going to right click, time stretch, and maybe time stretch it by 10. So that's 1/10 of the time that it was before, so it'll be 1/10 of this length. And I'll just press OK, and there you go. It's a lot shorter, and we can see the keyframe where it begins and the keyframe where it ends. Now this keyframe where it begins, there's a little bit of a lag between when I hit record and when I hit play on the cinematic. So I'm just going to drag this up until the cinematic starts to move, and as you can see, it's starting to move here at 27 frames, so that's perfect for me. So you can see if we just left that, it would just play normally, but we don't want it to play normally, do we? We want a bit of flow. And again, just change the ending keyframe here. There's a little bit of a lag between when I stop recording and the cinematic stops, so I'll just drag this back the way until the cinematic just about stops moving, and yeah, there we go. So it's 9 seconds and 48. And now we've got this linear playing cinematic. We really don't want that though, so we're gonna go to this next beat. This is where we want it to finish. We're just gonna drag this ending keyframe along to there, and Alt and close brackets again, so that the clip ends there. So now we've got it starting here, and it's a lot faster, but there's no flow. It doesn't speed up or slow down at any time. It's just a linear speed. So again, click that. Easy's keyframes, F9 is the shortcut for that, or you can right click, keyframe assistant, Easy's, that's what you want to do. As you can see, F9, and once you've done that, it'll have curved the keyframes, and you want to go into the graph editor as before. The graph editor is a massive part of this, and you can see it's starting off slow, speeding up in the middle, and then ending slow. We don't want that. We want it to start off fast, slow down in the middle, and then speed up at the end. So let's just grab these handles as I did before, and I like to do it quite harsh, so I'll even have it at a completely vertical angle, and just drag it up until it's round about the box where the other one is, and then do the same on this one. And you can, depending on how many frames you recorded the cinematic in, you can do this more harsh or less harsh, because using time remap, it really won't warp at all. It'll just go laggy. So at this point, I can do it this slow in the middle because I've recorded it at about 600 frames per second. But if you just had a 60 FPS cinematic, you really wouldn't be able to go this slow at all. But this is what you're gonna look for. It's similar to the U shape, but it's more of like a swiggle. If we went into the edit speed graph, it's a U shape, as you can see. But let's not get into that for now because that's quite complicated. Anyway, you just want to stay in the edit value graph. If you have it in edit speed graph, just want to select edit value, and you'll get this, and then you can see that's just basically how I do the speeds on my cinematics. So let's just begin the work area here and see how this looks. There you go. So it looks very good because it sort of speeds up here, slows down. You can see the guy running and reloading, and then it speeds up at the end to carry on. And that's my cinematics. So I appreciate you buying this tutorial if you're watching it, and thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed everything and you learned everything you needed to learn. If you need anything more, just DM me at Red Unchained, and I'll help you out. Please state that it's about the sinking in flow tutorial, because I get a lot of DMs in the first DM, and be patient. It might take me a day or so to get back to you, but yeah, everything should be alright, and that's how I do my speeds. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.